So there I was, wet and cold with waves pestering me time and again. I was frustrated, and to be honest, I was scared, really scared. A part of me wanted to give up, but the other part refused. When it was my turn, I paddled out. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. My hand shook. When the wave came, I paddled fiercely, then tried to stand. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do." I have done a lot of things in my life that I should not have been able to do, but I found a way, by looking fear in the face and by having courage. You may have figured out by now, I'm sharing the story of surfing lessons. I was eventually able to stand up, a few times actually, and I was able to ride a wave alongside my sister. And what you may not know from looking at me now is just why, besides the water, the choppy waves, and the fast-moving surfboard, it was so hard for me to stand up that day. You see, I am not the most graceful person. I have fallen in front of my entire class at school. I have walked into walls, fallen up and downstairs. Oh, and last week, I was in New Zealand in a cave, and I tripped and fell on stalagmites that have never been touched. So that goes without saying, I don't walk in heels. Flats are my signature style. You might be thinking, so what? Some people are clumsy. And while this is true, I used to be a top-ranked junior tennis player with the dream of playing in college. Life had other plans. For the sake of context, I will share with you that when I was 5, I had a brain tumor. It was big. About the most terrifying thing you've ever seen. When my parents saw it, they cried. And from the moment they found it, I didn't leave the hospital, and they admitted me to the oncology unit that day. I was in the hospital for a month and had 4 brain surgeries. But the happy ending is that I had a perfect outcome. And 2 days after I got home from the hospital, I laced up my hot pink Converse and started kindergarten. Fast forward 7 years. I was a happy, thriving 12-year-old, and my tennis team had just won state for a second time. I was winning lots of hardware. But then we found out that my tumor was back, and I needed another surgery. To be honest, I expected it to come out like my last one, with no complications. I'd be on the tennis court in only a few weeks. But when I woke from the operation, everything had changed. I lost coordination to the entire right side of my body. I remember trying to grab a glass of water, and my hand went the total opposite way. I also had double vision, and though I loved seeing my dad very much, seeing 2 of him was terrifying. When I tried to stand, my leg collapsed and I fell. The loss was overwhelming. As I lay there in the hospital bed, I had a very simple choice to make, accept the fact that I would have a disability for the rest of my life, or fight like hell for my dreams. Andre Norton once said, "As for courage and will, we cannot measure how much of it lies within us. We can only trust that it will be sufficient to carry us through the trials which may lie ahead." I had never known how much courage and will was inside of me, but I still call on it every day. In fact, the rest of my life story is made out of courage, will, and reinvention. When I got out of the hospital, I had 2 years of all kinds of therapy. Physical therapy, occupational, speech, eye, and balance. My dad left his job to help me get to my doctor's appointments, and helped me with my exercises. Schoolwork was hard too. I had to learn how to write with my left hand because my right hand had now suffered from tremors. It was hard for me to speak clearly. And all of this was difficult, but the hardest part for me was tennis. My brain knew what to do, but my body would not cooperate. After about 2 years of fighting, I finally realized that the reality of being a high-level tennis player wasn't in the cards. But I didn't give up. Last year, I made my high school varsity team. It's an accomplishment I'm very proud of. In November, I was featured in Tennis Magazine, the Heroes edition. But I'm not a hero. I've just had some extraordinary opportunities. So maybe this is a little more background than you wanted. But I share my story today because I've learned some important lessons in my battle. Even though I'm only 17, I'm old enough to know loss. We live in a hurting world, and too many people are faced with loss and devastation on a daily basis. We need to know how to navigate through. So here's what I've learned. First, courage is a choice. I had a choice that day in the hospital, and I chose to fight through my loss, tears, frustration, and hardship. Every day since then, I've pushed myself past what I thought was possible. Even though I won't be playing college tennis, I am going to play tennis my whole life. I still feel frustrated, but I can't let my circumstances define me. I choose more. Second, I have found gratitude. If you've ever been to Children's Hospital, it gives you a whole new perspective in which you view the world. Yes, I've had loss, but I'm also a healthy, happy teenager. Not everyone is so lucky. I'm not only thankful for the life I have, but the lessons that this journey has taught me. To save every moment, to laugh a little, to take risks, and to persevere and believe in yourself through every setback and stumble. A part of gratitude is not only to fight back, but to give back. It's a choice to change things for the better. After my second brain tumor, my family and I founded Peyton's Hope at Children's Hospital, Colorado. It's a dedicated endowment that will generate funds forever to help find a treatment and cure for brain tumors. And I believe it can be done. My goal is to raise $2 million. And thankfully, I have the time to do that. Last of all, I've learned you must always look forward. This is also a choice. A few years ago, my family and I were in the store, and I saw a card that said, "One day can change your life." At first, I wanted to get it, but then I realized it would always cause me to look back on what was. You can't live there. Now, I have a sign in my room that reminds me to always look forward. Hardship is something that can take over someone's life with a snap of a finger. When we encounter these hardships, we have to find a way to push through. We have to have the courage and will to not only survive, but thrive. It's been an honor to come here today. I hope you are never faced with loss, but if you are, you'll be reminded to choose courage, and in that, you'll find your own sweet moments of victory. Thank you.